We've been waiting for this episode for a while because I have often mentioned that the difference between a brewery and a winery is that wineries are often attached to a vineyard and they're often associated with agriculture. And brewers, for the most part, don't grow their own stuff. But our guests today are the ones that are the exception to that rule. And that's what makes them such an interesting story. Darren and Matt Riggs from the Riggs Beer Company outside of Champaign, Illinois. Thanks for being on the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
So why don't we start by giving the...
Hey, let's start by Riggs. It's a lethal weapon reference, and I think Riggs might know. I don't know Matt. I've never met Matt, but I went to school with Darren, and that's how we greeted each other every time we started a class. So there you go. Back.
I was going to mention you guys both went to Davis, right?
Yeah.
For beer school.
Yep, exactly.
Class of 2013.
All right,
So-
back to the business.
Yeah, why don't you guys start out with what makes your brewing company so different?
There's 10,000 breweries in the country, and that's pretty cool, first off, right? We should all probably just take a minute and think how much has changed in the last couple decades to make that the thing, the reality that there is now. But the fact of the matter is a lot of them are pretty darn similar and are making similar stuff and going after similar trends. And what Darren and I had, the idea that we formed long ago was really rooted in agriculture and our family's history on the farm, and happy to be able to say that maybe 20, 25 years after having that original idea, we're doing it. And it's thrilling, and it's actually every bit as rewarding as what we hoped it would be back when it was a dream. But yeah, we vertically integrate grain that we grow on our farm, thereby capturing all of the added value rather than having other, processors and middlemen, usually publicly traded corporations, capture that value. We're able to retain that value from the grain all the way to the consumer, except, obviously when we go through the wholesale channel, we share that with our distributors and our retail partners who serve the beer. But still, when you compare that to growing corn and then selling that corn, and then they later process that into high fructose corn syrup and then Mountain Dew, we get way more share of the profit than it was when we were growing Mountain Dew on the farm.
Yeah, I wanted to say, Matt said just more rewarding, but also more challenging than what we originally thought when we first, had the idea of drinking beer back in college, back in the day, right? So it's been a journey, and we're still figuring out how to do this in Central Illinois.